Welcome to a special St. Patrick's Day edition of MacBreak. Still St. Patrick's Day for a little bit longer. That is, if Alex gets this out in time. We thought we'd throw out a very special episode of MacBreak because there's been some big news in the Mac community. It all starts a few months ago. Well, actually, probably started really a year ago when Apple announced that they were going to start using Intel chips. Immediately, the speculation began. Will the new Intel Macs boot Windows? About 3 months ago, when the first Intel Macs were announced at Macworld Expo, I guess it's only a couple of months ago, a fella started a contest. It seems in January he convinced his boss to buy one of the new MacBook Pros by telling him, "Boss, look, it'll both run Mac OS X and Windows." Boss bought it, bought him the MacBook Pro, but then, bad news, it didn't. So he posted a little reward on the net, on his website, on mac.net. The reward grew and grew and grew. It's up to $13,854. And lo and behold, somebody's done it much faster than anybody, myself included, anticipated it. The Narf and Blanca, who choose to remain anonymous still, have won the $13,854 by making it possible to boot XP on OS X. So what did we do? Well, we immediately got Ben Durbin here, our Unix geek, to make it work. In fact, it was very lucky because the Mini drivers just came out a few hours ago.
That's right. When I was in the middle of installing it, and I encountered a problem that many people that were installing on the Mini were having, where it was getting to the point where it's actually going to copy the files onto your hard drive, the Windows files, and it would just hang there. So I checked the forums again, and lo and behold, there was a new EFI file, the boot file, for the Mac Mini specifically.
Now, we should point out one of the stipulations of this contest. People have been able to do this for a while, but one of the stipulations of the contest was to do it legally without violating any license agreements. And we're doing it legally. We actually went to the store and bought a fresh copy of Windows XP Professional. Can't use the upgrade version, got to use the full version. We have this Mac Mini. It's one of the new Intel Mac Minis. Is this a Duo or a Solo?
It's a Solo.
It's a cheap one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're not made of money here. Not yet, anyway. So it's running. I'll tell you what, it takes, about a minute to boot up?
Something like that, yeah.
So let's start the boot, and you can talk a little bit about what was involved to get it working.
Sounds good.
But is this running a CD, or is this running off the hard drive right now?
We're running off the hard drive right now, and we're at the screen where it gives you the option of choosing between which OS, or choosing the OS that you're going to boot into.
So the first steps are you have to reformat the drive, partition it into two, one for OS X and one for Windows.
That's right.
And then you put a bootloader on. You install OS X first?
You install OS X, you go into OS X, and you copy this bootloader file into a specific place and run a few shell commands that makes it ready to boot from that patched file.
And so the minute you turn on the Mini, this is what you see, and we have the choice.
That's right.
Narf and Blanca did a nice job, actually, or whoever made this, we don't know. So if I select Windows and hit return?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks, we're going to start booting up Windows.
So this is just some diagnostic information that the bootloader is spitting out, probably for their purposes while they're debugging and figuring out how this works in different machines.
The problem, as I understand it, is that the Mac Intel boxes use a new form of BIOS called EFI, the extended firmware interface, unlike all the old PCs which use BIOS.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
Here we are.
Well, wait a minute. I thought we were going to have a lot of time. Now, one thing I noticed is it's not using the full real estate of the 30-inch screen.
Right. It's just using the software graphics driver, so it's going to take a while for people to find the right graphics driver or find patched graphics drivers that will work.
And does the mouse work?
It should. I'm not sure.
It's a weird USB mouse.
Yeah, this mouse might not work.
Yeah, I have a wireless mouse, so we need to plug in. I'm sorry to say, one of those. I got one right here. I hate to do it. One of the mighty mouses, and plug that in. Oh, probably should be plugged. That's probably why it's not working. Could you?
Yes, I can.
Plug that into the back there. So, how hard was this to do?
Basically, I was just following the instructions. Other than that little glitch with it wanting a different EFI file, it's working now.
Yeah,
great.
And they have managed. Initially, it was only the 17-inch iMac and the MacBook Pro, but they've now, I understand, just today released drivers that make it work on the 20-inch and on these minis.
That's right.
So who should I boot to?
Any of these accounts should work.
So these are all the hosts of the show. I'm a little prejudiced. I'm gonna boot into my account. And what? Oh, so you. what did you have to do to Windows? This is obviously wasn't the basic Windows
You do
install.
need to start on a Windows machine, and you make what they call a slipstreamed boot CD. It's a special. You make a copy of the Windows installer and apply a few patches to it that allow it to install onto the Mini.
Do you use Nlight to do the slipstream, or
no?
They have their own stuff?
They have their own instructions, and then you just use Nero or any sort of boot enabling CD burner to make your actual media.
Now look at, I mean, it actually is running at a decent speed. Let me just try something that I've used before to test the Windows machine. Well, actually, we see something right away when I try to drag the window. It's a little bit stuttery.
Right, again, we're on that sort of software driver. It's
But those cards came up pretty fast, I have to say. Let's shuffle a new one. It's running at a pretty decent speed. Notice, by the way, I don't know, maybe you noticed it before, but it was saying you need an antivirus. And by the way, that's true. This is Windows. So anything that Windows can get, you can get. This is just because it's running on Mac hardware doesn't mean it's not prone to viruses, spyware, and all those other things. So tell me more about the installation process. What other difficulties did you come across?
That was the only difficulty, other than just following their detailed instructions. It was actually a very nice how-to. They give sort of short instructions for folks who are used to doing these sorts of hacks, and then they give a detailed step-by-step instruction for those who are just sort of following it blindly, hoping for it to work.
Which did you follow?
I did a little of both.
Now, I'm going to launch Internet Explorer, but there's a problem right away, is we don't have a network connection, do we?
Again, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a while before you start to see people finding patched drivers to make all of the different parts of the hardware work.
USB clearly works. I'm using a USB mouse. There's a video driver. May not be the best video driver, but it works. Let me just see if we go to properties here. We're kind of using a default display.
It doesn't even give any information.
Doesn't even say anything about the adapter. It doesn't know. Although in these minis, it's using an Intel motherboard video, so that might in a way be easier. Yeah. Let's do an about my computer here and open the system preferences page. Anything else you'd want to share about the installation?
I'd say keep an eye out on the forums, because this stuff seems to be sort of developing hour by hour.
Like literally.
By the time I was midway through the install and something new came out that actually made it work for this hardware. So I think things are going to be developing for sure on the on Mac.net forums.
Ben, I have to say it's working better than I really thought. This isn't a kludgy version of Windows. This feels like Windows. It's running at a decent speed. I'm able to do things like open computer management, disk management. I can see the partitions. I see you have an EFI partition. Is that part of the setup?
That's right. That's where the bootloader is living there. And then we have our partition.
And
then
TFS.
the OS 10 partition.
It can't see any files on the OS 10 partition at this point.
It doesn't recognize the file system on there.
But it can see a FAT32 and it can see an NTFS.
Right. And I've heard reports that if you use something like MacDrive, one of these pieces of software that allows you to see,
should be able to see it.
You should be able to see the files in there as well from within Windows.
Is it 4Play? Media Play? Media 4.
Something like that. Media 4 sounds.
Media 4, yeah. Wow, what else should we try here? This is incredible. Were there any anomalies that you didn't expect? That it seems pretty fast.
None so far. It seems other than the hardware support being a little bit iffy so far.
How fast is this computer?
I'm not sure, actually.
It's probably on the box. Very impressive. I have to say, look at this. Windows XP Professional version 2002, Service Pack 2.
1.5 gigahertz.
1.5 gigahertz. It's a solo, Core Solo.
That's right.
And we've got, it's amazing, 460 megs of RAM free. So network drivers are missing. What other drivers?
Other than that, in the graphics, those were the first two that were apparent. And other than that, seems okay.
Somebody get the Doom disk. Let's try it. Ben, good job. And
Thanks.
We thought we'd get this out to you right away. So there it is. This is no joke. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing. There it is. Windows on a Mac. We won't address the philosophical issue of why you'd want to do this. Well, $13,854 is a good start. Thanks, Ben. Good job.
Pleasure.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of MacBreak.
We'd like to thank Maxon Computer for their ongoing support of MacBreak. All the graphics that you see on MacBreak and all the flying logos are all created in Maxon Cinema 4D. Check it out at their website and download a demo for yourself.